This is the 7 p.m. Cat 4-5 race from Week 8 at Pacific Raceways. Tonight we have a total of 8 teammates racing. Randy, Eric, and Evan had just raced the earlier race, so that did affect our strategy a bit. Eric had to put in a big effort late in the previous race to secure 4th place, so he didn't think he had much left for this race. But Randy actually didn't work too hard in his previous race, so he still had energy to initiate some attacks in this race. Some on the team wanted to try for a break in this race, and my response was, I've been trying all summer to form one, and they never seem to stick. With that in mind, we came up with a game plan, simple and flexible enough for a large team that's still new to racing to implement. Randy and I would attack early in the race and then take it easy in the middle. After that, others would take over and cover any moves. In the final third of the race, Eric should be recovered from his early race, and Randy and I should be recovered from our early attacks. At 4 laps to go, I would attempt to form a break. If I got caught, whoever wasn't feeling good about their sprint would move to the front at 2 laps to go and empty their tank to stretch the field out and prevent the standard PR bunch sprint. Noah designated himself as a lead out, so during the final 2 laps we would form up behind him. Let's see how that played out. The wind was from the southwest tonight, which meant there was a left cross headwind on the start-finish straight. I thought I saw McKenna, who was in the women's opens race earlier. Since my job is attack early, I decided to move up front to say hi.
You're racing again? Alright, friendship's over.
On the backside straight, the tailwind stretches us out, and that 2-person break has a potential of leaving us behind. So I move up to fill that gap to turn the 2-person break into a 5-person break with my teammate Evan. I drift back to let Evan know I'm going to attack during the end of the next turn.
Are you going for preems tonight?
Huh?
Are you going for preems?
Probably not. I'm 5 4.
Alright,
Let's do that.
stick with me. Okay, on the next turn.
And since the field is stretched out, I want these other 3 riders to follow my attack to make the rest of the field have to work hard to close the big gap. It doesn't work, but it does increase our speed and stretches us out. As we finish the first lap, I sense some hesitation at the front, so I attack. I get a big gap, and no one comes. But rather than giving up right away, I decide to keep the gap until the backside straight, so that the front of the field has to fight the headwind, and I get to join the field as I enter the tailwind section, which will stretch out any small gaps formed as people try to chase me. And it worked. I see that we have a gap, so I decided to do a pull to grow the gap even though my heart rate is still high for my attack. And as we finish the lap, the field has caught us, so I ease up, waiting for Randy to counter. But at that time, the 1-2-3 field catches us and neutralizes us for half a lap. So on the backside of the course, we have JJ and Jonathan up front. Bryson's a new teammate, so he doesn't have the kit yet. He moves up in his Blue Canyon black kit to join them. With teammates up front, I soft pedal to let them roll away. They get a big gap, which forces Apex to launch an attack, and Noah does an excellent job of staying on Apex's wheel. But as more people start to bridge, it no longer is a real break, and we lose the advantage in numbers. Rather than bridge myself, I surf the wheels of other people so I can get to the front and be ready to launch my own counterattack. And in typical PR fashion, the brake gets caught after the turn onto the start finish straight. So I launch a well-timed attack on the downwind side as the front bunches up and slows down. A few follow my attack and turns it into a break. Our plan was for me to attack in the first third, rest for the middle, and try for a break at the end. I've never seen a break this early be successful at PR, so my plan is to put in a good effort for a lap, and if we haven't made much progress, I'll do short pulls and allow us to get caught by the field, so I have a chance to try for another break later on. On the back side of the course, Kirk, the rider in gray, lets a gap form, so even though I just pulled, I filled the gap to keep this break together. You have to fill those gaps no matter what. Even if your heart rate is high, fill the gap and then just do a really short pull when you're on the front again. So in this break, we have Ryan in red from Audi and Kirk in gray. 3 is the bare minimum for a break to make any progress here, but luckily Travis from 253 is able to bridge and join us. A 4-person break with this large of a gap makes me reconsider the plan. We are at the point now where I should be taking it easy, but I decided to keep this break going for as long as we can. This is a preem lap, and since now I'm fully committed to this break, I'd rather negotiate the preem now than have the break fall apart as someone tries to sprint for it.
You ready if you want the preem? Preem? Are you going for the preem at all? Alright, let's keep it together then.
All 3 say they don't care about the Supreme, so we keep rotating. So at the end of the lap, Kirk leaves us, but by this point, we had a 4-person break for an entire lap, so we have a nice gap that a 3-person break can maintain. Travis takes the preem, but keeps it classy and does a nice long pull. And for the next 35 minutes, I just stare at their butts as we keep doing 30-second pulls. And up here we have a crash from the 1-2-3 field, so we move over to the left. They're both walking, so it looks like they're okay.
Watch out, crash ahead!
It's a lot easier for a small break to maneuver around a crash smoothly. It's going to be harder for the field to get around this crash. Not everyone will see it, some will grab brakes, some will make jerky turns, and all that slows the field down. So this is another chance for us to grow the gap by taking strong pulls. So that's why I move up before Travis is finished, because we have to take advantage of this moment in the race to grow our gap. another preem lap, but I know none of us care about it, so I don't even ask. As I finish my pole, I see there's a small gap in front of Travis, and I don't want to lose him in the tailwind section, as a tired two-person brake would likely get caught right at the end of the race, so I filled in. Again, this can be hard to do, but just do a short effort at the front again and move to the back to recover. It'll be much easier to do 2 poles rather than try to go the rest of the race with one less person in the brake. And on the second to last turn, I see 2 teammates on the side of the road. Randy is standing, but Jonathan is on the ground. Randy doesn't look too worried, which is a good sign.
Do you need help?
So when Jonathan went down, Randy was right behind him, so ran him over, knocked the wind out of him, probably bruised a rib. Both have some road rash, but we're doing fine by the end of the race. So I know we have about 20 minutes left to race, and normally this is the time the brake starts to fade and the field begins to really chase us down. I'm about to check in with Travis and Ryan, see how they're doing, and tell them to do shorter poles rather than let our speed drop. But I get a good look at the field, and they're nearly a minute behind us. And Travis and Ryan are still doing 30-second poles, and our speed's the same as the previous lap. So I figure these two know what they're doing. But on the second to last turn, the field has reduced our gap to 30 seconds, and they're stretched out, so I know they're trying to chase us. That makes me dig a little deeper to build our speed up before I pull off. At 2 laps to go, there's a chance the cat and mouse games are going to start, which has the potential to get us caught. So I make sure to give quality polls for 30 seconds to let Ryan and Travis know I'm still working with them. I'm also monitoring their polls in case they start doing shorter ones in preparation to attack and leave the break. As we approach 1 lap to go, I start thinking about my endgame. I was planning on going long during the tailwind section, but I figured these two haven't faded yet, so they might be saving something to either respond to my attack or initiate one themselves. I decide to conserve energy, follow any possible attack from either one of them, or try to get into a good position for a sprint. So my goal is to finish my pole on the next lap right here. So on the second to last turn, I'm at the back before the sprint. But what I failed to realize is Travis and Ryan want to do the same thing. So what I should have done is right here, little sprinter's gap form behind Travis, attack on the left side, and gutter them right as Ryan flicked his elbow. Ryan would have been tired from his pull, and Travis would have started coming around Ryan on the right side, so he wouldn't be able to get into my draft. So I move up early, trying to start my pull now, so that I can finish at the end of the turn. But as I slow down, Ryan and Travis don't take the bait, and I now realize I'm at the front right before the sprint. Normally people go early at PR, so I'm trying to get one of them to start their sprint early so that I can use them as a lead out. I get out of the saddle to feign a sprint and throw in some fake heavy breathing to really sell it, and it works. But I'm on the wrong side of the course. I should have been all the way on the right to make them sprint in the wind. And the results really show how important positioning is. Ryan was at the back, and he sprinted on the protected side. And as a result, Ryan takes first, Travis second, and I get third. So after a 40-minute break, I mess it up by sprinting on the wrong side of the track. My fake sprint trick actually worked. It did get them to get in front of me, but since they were downwinding me, I wasn't able to get in their draft. And now that the race is over, it's time to switch over to team photographer role and catch the pack finish of my race and the finish of the 1-2-3 race, which I saw had a break with Ben in it. In the pack finish, Noah leads out Eric, who takes fourth again. Overall, the team had some good results. Tyson got third in the earlier race, I take third in this race, and Eric fourth in both races. Ben takes first in the 1-2-3 race with Peter in third and Sam in fourth. So it looks like a break can work at Pacific Raceways, but since pack finishes are more common, we need to start focusing on getting a lead out formed. Well, next week we have a strong lineup, so I can't wait to see what we can do.